Be praised, he said to himself, thanks to my genie, I have everything a man could wish for, a palace for a home, treasure chests overflowing with gold mohurs coins, a fleet of the best Bactrians. The backwards genie Vidya Pradhan. Aladdin sat beside the oasis one sunny Saharan day. Allah be praised, he said to himself, thanks to my genie, I have everything a man could wish for, a palace for a home, treasure chests overflowing with gold mohurs coins, a fleet of the best Bactrians and a loving family. I should be happy, he sighed. A small dark puddle appeared near his feet. Aladdin brushed the sand aside and discovered a black hole. No, it was only a cylinder of onyx, so dull it seemed to be sucking up the light from around it. If I polished it up a little, it would look good on my let me see. Would it be 356th or my 357th in the curio cabinet? He pulled a corner of his silk robe and began to rub the cylinder. Fwoosh! A small wisp of smoke emerged from the top of the cylinder. Not another genie, I suppose. I must be some kind of a genie magnet, said Aladdin, shaking his head. The wisp turned into a tiny creature with pointed ears and beady eyes. It had impossibly long nails on impossibly 24 small fingers and was dressed in a flowered shirt and a tutu. Nope, it squeaked, I am not a genie, I am an eineg. A what? An eineg, of course, E-I-N-E-G. Don't tell me you have never heard of an eineg. Well, can't say I have. Aladdin scratched his head. I knew those genies were getting away with all the glory. The eineg hopped on one foot and pulled its ears. It looked very cross. And what do einegs do? Asked Aladdin. He was not sure he would have space in his underground vault for any more treasure chests. Why, take away wishes, of course. What? It is very simple, really, said the creature, stroking its chin. You tell me 3 things that you have and I will take them away. And, sorry, they have to be things that you like. No use telling me to remove that exasperating itch or that worrisome wart. Aladdin began to laugh. And you wonder why you are not more popular. Begone. Back to your cylinder. Shoo. No, you can't shoo me, Retsum. I have got to stay with you till you finish your wishes or your wishes finish you. Ha, ha. Aladdin threw the cylinder back on the sand and called for his camel to return home. He was still trying to figure out what Retsum meant when PSSST decided yet. Aladdin looked around wildly. The voice seemed to be coming from inside his head. Who is that? It is me, eineg, of course, Retsum. Well, I have decided to stay in here till you make up your mind about finishing 26. Your wishes. Less scary for the general public. Right. You mean you are going to stay in there till? Yes, Retsum, squeaked the voice in his head. After dinner that night Aladdin sat down in front of the entertainment center and tried to concentrate on the antics of the jugglers and the clowns. But instead of the popular number sung by the famous Velma of the Vales, all he could hear was one word drumming in his ears, decide. Decide. By the next morning, Aladdin had forgotten about the squeak in his head. He went for a leisurely camel ride about his estates in the morning, had lunch at the Magic Lamp Tavern with his friends and in the afternoon went for a swim. When he returned home, his wife was in tears. The children won't get away from the entertainment center, she lamented. They have been watching Mirza Monkey and his marvelous magic all day. Our son's teacher thinks he would be better off staying home instead of wasting his time in school. Nonsense, said Aladdin robustly, I paid for that school. But he was worried. He pulled and tugged, wheedled and cajoled, but the children were glued to the stage. I wish we had never got that entertainment center in the first place, he said to himself. Poof. The entertainment center vanished in a puff of smoke. 1 down, 2 to go, Retsum, said the voice in his head. The children began to cry. How about a family ride on the magic carpet to go get some honeyed figs, said Aladdin quickly to distract the children. Later, they all sat down and played snakes and ladders with real gold coins. The next morning Aladdin woke up early and headed 27 for his camel stables. His stable manager came running to him. "1,000 apologies, master," said the nervous man, "but the camels are refusing to work today." Aladdin walked over to his favorite camel and tugged at its reins. "Get up, you flat-footed, fur-eared, noisy beast," he yelled. brrmph. Went the camel as it spit gooey glob in Aladdin's face. These camels cost me a treasure chest full of gold coins in dates and oats every day, and I can't get a ride when I want one. Aladdin howled as his servants rushed over with towels and scented water. I never wish to see these bad-tempered, obstinate, spitting, kicking, greedy hogs. Camels again. Swoosh. His stables were empty. All that was left was a little swirl of sand creating a miniature cyclone on the desert floor. Not bad indeed, said the Einegg, peeking out of Aladdin's ear. One more wish and I will be back inside the old black cylinder. Oh, no, cried Aladdin, how am I going to get to the bazaar now? He walked back sadly to his castle. Here is your shopping list, dear, said his wife, handing him a slip of papyrus that read: 46 loaves of bread, 78 pounds of prime goat rib, 156 pounds of oatmeal, 300 pounds of dates, 765 toothpicks. Well, remove the oatmeal and dates, we won't need those anymore, said Aladdin sadly, but who eats all the rest? He was outraged. Don't forget, replied his wife soothingly, we have 28. 50 servants, who have 50 servants of theirs, not to mention the laundry maids and the kitchen maids and the camel drivers and the flag bearers and the fan wavers and the... I get it, said Aladdin. He called 38 of his servants and set off for the bazaar. Colorful stalls sold carpets and many goodies. Street vendors fried pastries and grilled meat. They smell delicious, said Aladdin. I wonder why I never noticed them before. Maybe because you were high up on one of your smelly humps of lard, squeaked the Einegg, from his perch on Aladdin's head. The entourage settled at a coffee shop. This is life. He looked up from his cup of coffee and saw all his servants clustered around him, looking at him hopefully. Coffee for everybody, he announced grandly. Thank you, master. Humble thanks. You are the kindest master. The servants chorused. On the way home, the servants set up a noisy squabble. I get to walk behind the master. Out of my way, I was working for him when you were an infant in a soggy diaper. Crash. Thud. Aladdin looked around to see his servants rolling on the road, wrestling. He raised his eyes skyward. Do I really need these bickering bunch of baboons? Are you ready for your third wish? Asked the Einegg, peering out of Aladdin's pocket. Well, I can always hire them again, thought Aladdin. Aloud he said, yes. I wish I did not have any servants. Shwoomp. Aladdin stood alone on the desert road surrounded by piles of meat, bread and other groceries. Maybe I should have waited till they carried all the stuff 29 home. How am I going to cart all this stuff? Thought Aladdin. He picked up a loaf and a bag of goat meat and set off towards home. His head felt lighter now that the Einegg had vanished. But where was his palace? All he could see was a tiny hut in the middle of the desert. He hurried over to it. His wife and the kids came rushing out. Everything has gone, she cried. The kids clapped their hands and danced around. Magic, magic. We want more. You really did not think you could just buy some more stuff with your piles of gold, did you? Said a familiar voice. No gold, no shopping. Bye-bye. Well, that is the end of this story. But don't feel too sad for Aladdin. He still has his magic carpet for rides around the town and his magic ring for emergency cash. His children now regularly win the state spelling bees, only gold-plated ones, and Aladdin's daily walks to the bazaar have restored his boyish good looks. He still pokes around the oasis once in a while to see if he can find the cylinder. He knows a few of his rich ex-friends who could do with Einegg's help. 30. Brought to book. Madhumata Gupta. This has got to stop immediately, Justice Mathematics said in a stern voice, rapping the hammer for silence in the court. He pushed back the horn-rimmed glasses up his nose and glared first at Manu and then at the crowd in the court. Everybody respected him, even Manu, so a pin-drop silence fell in the court instantly. Let us proceed, Justice Mathematics said, nodding his head. Your witness, first, he gestured at the torn Miss-English. Manu chewed his nails nervously. Your Honor, began the lady, in a trembling voice, when I came to this house, I wore a lovely pink and grey dress, shiny and unmarked. And, sir, just look at me now. Everybody gazed at her. Her dress was unrecognizable. Covered with ink and grease spots, mercilessly dog-eared and 2 corners chewed away, she looked a wreck. Tears rolled down Miss English's cheeks. Offering her a handkerchief, Justice Mathematics asked gently, "How did it happen, Miss English?" "Well," sniffed Miss English, "this boy," she pointed at Manu, "brought me home a few months back but never 31 bothered to cover me properly with the nice brown paper his father had brought." "Did Manu not get scolded and punished in the school for that?" Justice Mathematics inquired. "Oh, yes, he was, repeatedly," said Miss English in a tearful voice, "but all the punishment and scolding slipped off him like water off a duck's back. Not only did he ruin my looks," she continued, "he also ill-treated me." The audience was stunned, ill-treating a delicate creature like Miss English. How terrible. By now tears had started rolling down Miss English's big eyes. And stopping only to sniff delicately in the handkerchief, she told everyone about how Manu dropped her carelessly, stuffed her anyhow in his cramped bag, sometimes next to the lunchbox dripping with oil. Manu turned red as many pairs of eyes glared at him. Oh, why had he not listened to his mother, who had told him many times to take care of his books? He was otherwise a good boy and even managed to stay within the first 5 ranks of the class. But he was extremely lazy. Manu. The stentorian voice of Justice Mathematics brought him back to reality. "What do you have to say for yourself?" Manu managed to mumble an apology. "I am sorry, sir." "What do you mean by saying, sorry?" screamed Justice Mathematics. "You have to undo what you have done. Do you understand?" He looked above the top of his glasses and seemed as if he would like to bite Manu. "Next." He barked at the peon. Mr. Geography stood up shakily and went to the witness box. He was in a worse condition than Miss English. He had no cover, the contents page was hanging in on its last 32 threads, but the worst part was the maps. They had been filled in mercilessly with all the colors in the paint box. "Yes," prompted Justice Mathematics.